Okay, now we're going to take a look using a report builder and just look at some of the different types of report objects that we can use. So I've got report builder up and running, and I'm going to come in here and take a look at some of the ones we've already created down here. So first off, show you I've got a base report down here. I've got a base report with connections, and I'm going to not save the change of that just so we can open this up. You see this base report now it comes through and I've got these connections down here. The advantage of doing it this way, if I want to come in and I want the user to create reports, and yet I do not want them to have to go through the problems of changing the connection strings in here, then I'm going to create these reports. I'm going to create them as shared, and then they'll be able to download that report and use it as a good base. Notice there's no data set down here. They could add the data set here. Another way to do it, I'll come back in, and now here's a base report with connections and a base report with data sets. And what you want to figure out down here is the sophistication of your users, whether you need to just create the data connections and then the data connections and the data set. The advantage of doing it this way is then, depending on the way the SharePoint security was configured on SharePoint, the average user couldn't get in and cause you all kinds of connection problems. And also data sets, again, depending on the sophistication of the user, a data set, which is really a query, may be challenging for the average user, yet their business knowledge of the way the business actually works and of what they need to see in here is really quite excellent, beyond what we have over in the land of IT. And you don't know how much it pains me to say that. So now let's take a look at some of the report objects. I'll come down here like this, and let's see, here's a report with charts, and let's go in and take a look at, let's look at the with the matrix. So now here I've got a report up and running, and it's just a really little basic report down here, and I use the data set, and again, this is the one that has the multiple data sets within it, and I just came in and I have different matrices that I have down here. I created a couple matrices, as you can see, to come on across, just to show you that we have multiple matrices down here. Now if I come up to the run icon, we'll come through and you can see I've done some different color coding down here, reseller order count down here like this, and down here it's in June as we come across, and I just showed it in different formats down here. And now if I go back over to the design tab, so I've got 1, 2, 3 matrices I come through, and then we can go in and change the properties. When I come in and select that, I can go over to the view tab and see the properties window, and I can come in. See, if down in here, then you change all the colors, etc. Let's not play with that at this time. So there's a matrix. If I come down here and if I can find the one that has, that's a gauge, base report connections. And if I come down here and here's my customers in analysis in Los Angeles, let's take a look at that. This is a map, and this is a Bing map that's overlaying this data set. So I've got spatial data. That spatial location gave me the ability to come through and create a map very easily using the Insert tab, and then the Map Wizard just to walk on through. And when I came in and did that, I just came through and I could SQL query, pop on through, and you see I'd pick a data set that has the data set spatial data in it. And then spatial location was automatically detected down here, and I went in and said add a Bing layer and came through and added that map. Yeah, I'm just fooling it. So now I was able to come in there and add this map, and if I come through and run it, let's go back home, run the report. Now you can see I've got a Bing map down here with these little circles. You can go through and change all these configurations, but it's overlaying the maps. Be careful on your maps when you're doing reports. They're visually appealing. I personally love maps, but is it really transmitting information within the land of dashboards? That's the key question we've got to ask down here. Does the way I'm displaying this information transfer the information over to the person that's actually going to use it? Let's see what else we've got down here. Let's go through and look at our gauge, cleverly called gauge. So now I have a gauge down in here. Gauges, again, are visually appealing. Some of the problems you have with gauges, they take up a tremendous amount of space down here, or screen estate within the what eventually is going to be a dashboard. So I've got this down here like this, and I put a little little pop-up down here just tell you internet sales will be displayed on this pointer, which is orange. If I come in and select it, see radial pointer 1 over there has internet sales on it. Radial pointer 2 has reseller sales. Down here, if we come through and run it, you can see it. And you notice the display as we come on across. Now you notice this gauge. Let's go back over and show you that. If I come in there and select the gauge and I right click and I go into scale properties, the reason that worked is my min's 0 and I move this up to 100 million. Right? And the way I was able to pull that off, cancel this out, is before I came through and actually created that, I took my data set and I took internet sales and dropped them over here on reseller sales and dropped it over here, and then I ran the report so I could come up and just have an indicator here of what I needed the scale of this gauge to be. Let's drop that on out. Okay, so we've looked at, let's see if we can, if I have one in here with a graph. Gauge report, customers, in a matrix. There we are. Chart. No, I don't save anything. I was just fooling around. All right, now I've come in and I've done a chart. And again, you know, off the insert menu, I just came down here and selected chart. And I went through the chart wizard and you'd pick up some kind of a data set. Let's go demo just to show you something. And now we come through and we pick the kind of chart we want and just walk on through the wizard. Yeah. So now I've got two charts in here, internet sales by country and reseller sales by country as we're coming on across. Let's run them. And as you see, I've got the different color codes up in here again, internet sales, and it's staggering on across on reseller sales. For charts, the tool you want to use, your decision is between Dashboard Designer and Performance Point Services, where we do visual reports, charts, or reporting services, where we come through and create these charts down here. And for the visualizations we have available in reporting services far exceeds that we have in Dashboard Designer. You must remember, though, in Dashboard Designer, we have the capabilities of doing a decomposition tree. Let me go back over to that, and there's nothing else fascinating within there. Okay, in the last little module, we'll come through of this demonstration and show you report parts.